Disneyland may be the happiest place on earth, but a close second is the Department of Psychology at the University of Pennsylvania. That department, led by Dr. Martin Seligman, has devoted their study to the scientific research on what makes people happy. Seligman, over the years, busted the myth that success brings happiness. Turns out it doesn't. But what they discovered along the way is that happiness does bring success. Maybe the first bullet item on your annual business plan should be become as happy as possible this year. As they've studied happiness over the years, they've discovered that there's kind of a magic pill for happiness. One thing that makes people happier than any other thing. And that thing is gratitude. I love this book that came out recently by an author named Jacobs, entitled Thanks a Thousand. It's sort of a book about coffee. I love coffee. Jacobs loves coffee. My birthstone is the coffee bean. Sometimes my wife will ask me in the morning, how many cups of coffee have you had? I say, well, in dog coffee, just one. Jacobs spent a year of his life thanking everybody who in any way contributed to his morning cup of coffee. He thanked over 1,000 people. He started by finding the people who grew the coffee beans, and he thanked them. He found the person who designed the current Starbucks coffee lid, and he thanked that person. He discovered that his morning coffee came from this reservoir nearby that was the water source that went to the purification plant, and he found out there was this person who worked at the reservoir, and this person's job was to remove the fallen critters, squirrels and birds that might get into the water and pollute his morning cup of coffee. And he thanked that person. He thanked over 1,000 people, showed them his gratitude, and obviously the story became how this year of thanking changed him. Seligman says over the years, in all the testing we've done on happiness, there's one experiment that we did that promoted the greatest peak of happiness of all. It's called the gratitude visit. He said, this is what we had people do. We had them think about somebody to whom they were grateful. Somebody who had helped their life move them forward in some powerful way. Maybe a family member, maybe a friend, maybe a coworker, that they had not really fully said, I appreciate what you did for me. Then they were instructed to sit down and write a letter. Nobody writes letters anymore, but they sat down and wrote a letter about 300 words explaining in detail what that person had done for them and the difference that it had made in their lives. At that point, they were instructed to call up that person and schedule a little get-together, maybe for a cup of coffee, and then sit down, and in that gathering, in that visit, they were instructed to read their letter to that person. Obviously, the main reason you do this is because you really do owe that person a debt of gratitude, and you have something you want to say to them, and it's for their sake. But they discovered at UPenn there was this amazing happiness boomerang effect of this experience. These individuals who had expressed their gratitude in this way reported this near euphoric experience of happiness afterwards. It not only was the greatest happiness peak they'd ever measured, but it lasted far longer than anyone would have ever expected. Actually, greater happiness, longer lasting than even that visit to Disneyland.